internet. I've gotten a lot of requests for Astaroth tutorial. He's a relatively popular character, so I thought I'd cover that. Let me turn the volume down on my headset so I can hear myself. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys the methods in which I've observed one should use to win with Astaroth. Now, I've had a lot of experience with this character, though I don't play him too heavily myself, but I know what needs to be done to win with him. So, I don't know if you guys know, this game, it's kind of like interesting. Its popularity is kind of weird because yesterday we had another, we had a 10-man tournament on Friday at Super Arcade for this game. And then on Wednesday, which is only a few days later, we had a 11-man tournament. So that's kind of interesting. It's better than DOA. It's not that far behind Tekken in terms of numbers because Tekken that day only had 14 people, which was yesterday. So that's not bad. And there were some people there who were asking about Astaroth, and other people online have asked about Astaroth. So I thought I'd do an Astaroth tutorial for you guys today. So basically, the character archetype is obviously he's a grappler style character. His command throws are what make him really good. But because his general move list is so slow, and he's so wide as a character, he can't really step that efficiently, and he can't really 8-way run too efficiently either. So his best line of defense, other than step guard, which is generally unbeatable in terms of defense, is GI. So if you're the type of player who is very exceptionally good at timing GIs during your opponent's offense, this is the character for you. Because since you're stuck, since he's so big, and since he can't move, and his move list is relatively slow, like his fast moves are 6-6B, 6-6K, back B is an important one. But these moves are generally slow if you compare them to the fast characters in the game, which there are a lot of. So if you're planning on playing Astaroth, and you want to be able to beat characters like Taki, Shanghua, Cassandra, Yoshi, Mitsurugi, all these characters, you have to be able to GI, because if you don't GI, you're going to just be completely locked down the entire time. And it's going to be very frustrating for you to, formulate an offense and to have solid defense. You can't just be guess ducking all the time. You have to be able to retaliate. So in this case, as I mentioned, GI extremely important. Now, that's generally the archetype of the character. GI heavy, good keep out, but I wouldn't really call it keep out so much as I would call it like he's able to, they're going to get in against Astaroth. You're not going to be able to keep them out for long. However, in their attempt to get in, you can take a lot of damage away from them. So you basically make them pay for real estate. If they want to come close, they have to pay with damage. It's kind of like Zangief against Sagat in Street Fighter 4. Zangief has to understand that in order to get in, he has to sacrifice damage. And that's what your opponent should feel like against Astaroth. Like, if you're playing against a good Astaroth, they have to make you pay to get in close. And that's kind of the key. He has good range. He has some good moves that reach very far. But they're not like Ivy or Killick in the sense that you can just keep pummeling them and keeping them away from you. That's not going to work. And generally, Astaroth's best range is not far away. His best range is right up close, right in throw range. That's going to be the primary range you want to stay at. So it's not really... I don't want to say you shouldn't try to play keep out with him, because you can if you want to, but in my opinion, I think his best range is up close. However, because his range is so good, exceptional, when you're not up close, instead of trying to get to that position yourself, it's better to let them come to you, in the meantime, taking away damage, chunks of damage, with different moves that you have that have good range. So that's generally the character style. Now, going over some of his most important key moves, 6-6B is very, very important in this game. First of all, because Bs naturally will crush through As if they connect with each other at the same time. So a move like 6-6B with it's also a mid in this game if it's up close. That's an important thing to remember. From far away, it's a high, as you can see there, and it doesn't knock down. But from up close, it's a mid, and it does knock down. And it's pretty fast too, so really, really important, I'd say. And then another thing is, so I mentioned it crushes through A's, and because it's so fast and it has such long range, it has a big active window. So it actually will do a lot better job at crushing A's than you may think. It seems like it won't, but just abusing this is really, really strong. Really good tool. Another important tool, of course, is Bull Rush. And I didn't mention this in the character archetype portion of this tutorial, but he is also a big ring out character. So GIs and ring outs are going to be your main focus. If you're a ring out style player and if you have good GI timing, Astaroth is really, really for you. So yeah, Bull Rush is going to be one of your main ring out tools. The reason it's so good, it may not like be obvious, but on block, let me set him to block. So on block, you have enough pushback to threaten the opponent with another Bull Rush, right? Now the only way he's gonna stop the second Bull Rush is by doing something either mid or like doing a quick BB or doing like a down A or something. But the problem is a lot of characters on block don't even have range that will reach in a way where it would be safe to retaliate. So let me show you what I mean. So if I make them block a Bull Rush like that, right? Look how far away Maxi is. He's very far away. So if Maxi's gonna stick out a move, he's not gonna want to stick out like a standing B or down A, even though those things are fast enough to beat the second Bull Rush. He's not going to want to do that because it's too risky. What if I don't do a second Bull Rush and I do a backwards Poseidon's Tide? That's going to fuck you up, right? So you have to be very careful what you retaliate with if you block a Bull Rush. And that's what makes it so good as a ring out tool, because let's say the Maxi player retaliates with a B, standing B, right? So you do Bull Rush, sidewalk, Bull Rush again, and he's out. He's rung out. So that's the key. Bull Rush causes a lot of hesitation in what your opponent wants to retaliate with. And that's the key. You can also charge Bull Rush. I don't usually recommend it. It's not necessary. But I'll show you what it looks like when you do. It's actually a launcher, and you get that follow-up. A lot of damage, but it's not really worth it because Bull Rush on its own is, you know, really, really good. Really safe, really, yeah, high crushes. It's also a true high crush, so no throws or anything will be able to hit you while you're doing a Bull Rush. And you can also guard cancel it. The guard cancel also is not that good. I never use it. I never think it's that good. And I don't see a lot of players use it either. So basically, Bull Rush is one of your spammy moves. You gotta spam this shit over and over. If they're, you know, it's like such a great ring out tool because it's done by doing 6K, and you can also do it by 8-way running down forward and up forward with K. So it works kind of like Yoshi's Fubuki Ni, where you can do one, and then if they retaliate, you sidestep their retaliation, and then 8-way run punish with it for ring outs, for positioning and stuff. Really, really important move. Another really important move, of course, is Poseidon's Tide. This move is super fucked up, super cheap. Now, there's a million reasons why this move is cheap. So let's start with the fact that it's a mid-horizontal move that you can control before the first hit of impact. So you can slide him backwards, you could slide him at an angle, you could slide him forward if you want to get back into range, like as a whiff punish, like that. If it hits the opponent, if the first hit hits, it's always going to transition into this attack throw. And it does 83 points of damage, which is a shitload. It does not ring out, even though it looks like it should. It will never ring out, but that's okay because this move is so cheap. Now, basically, the way it works if it's blocked is you have this opportunity to do these pirouette, twirly ballerina spins. Now, the ballerina spins you can control left and right. As you can see, I'm sliding during the spins. This is what makes it so cheap, because if you vary the amount of hits that you do, so let's say I do just one hit, or maybe I do 3 hits or 2 hits, or, you know, do the whole thing, move back in and hit him with all the follow-ups. This is the big mix-up. You create space. If the first hit doesn't hit, you vary the number of hits as well as the spacing to make it difficult for your opponent to punish or retaliate. It's really a good move. All of the hits are mid. They all track. So basically, the opponent's going to have to sit there while you do all this shit. It's really, really good. Let me get some water. Excuse me. All right. So, Poseidon's Tide, really, really cheap. Another reason why it's so good is because in this game, jumping is a really big deal. On top of that, a lot of moves have jumping properties, especially long-ranged moves. Like, for example, Maxi has that big quarter circle forward B where he jumps in the air and like spins his whatever the fuck the nunchuck is called. And it's in the air, so if you counter hit that move, it will be airborne and Maxi will take reduced damage. However, Astaroth, because Poseidon's Tide will air throw out of the air, you can take full 83 points damage even if they're in the air, which is really, really good. And in general, Astaroth is really good at beating jumpers, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. So that's Poseidon's Tide, but let me see, how can I make him jump up? So let me show you. Poseidon's Tide right out of the air will turn into a command throw anyway. On top of that, his regular command throws will catch in the air like that. So that's really, really good. In general, Astaroth is really, really good against jumpers. Now, speaking of command throws, we can talk about what makes him exceptionally cheap. So, Astaroth, you don't really need to do regular throws with him. This is what his A throw looks like, and you should never see it. This is what his B throw looks like, and again, not what you should be doing. Even though they do 60 points damage, which is higher than average, you don't want to use those throws. You want to use his command throws. Now, his command throws are done by, excuse me, doing B plus guard back, which does that command throw, and then B plus guard forward, which does the forward command throw, which I just fucked up. Now, the throws can be delayed, so you have to be cautious not to do that unless they're GIing for post-GI. I'll talk about that later. But the basic throw is B plus guard back, which guarantees a 2-2B and does a shitload of damage, just like that. If you want Okazemi, you can do... That was a side throw. If you want Okazemi, you could do the B command grab and then hit back B. Sorry. You want to charge it. Like that. If you do the charge version of back B, you get Okazemi after this throw. It does less guaranteed damage, but they're left close near you for follow-ups. If you want, like, let's say you want to make a comeback with Astaroth, that's what I would recommend. But otherwise, generally, you just want to do the guaranteed 2-2B afterwards. Ton of damage. Really, really good. Let's see. His A version, his A command grab, which looks like that, puts you over his knee. That does a good amount of damage, 68, and leaves you right there for Okazemi. Now, that's really, really good. So, basically, his A and B command throws are extremely good. And the reason why he's so good at a high level is because once 2G was discovered, which it allows opponents to block after they've been GI'd, he's really good because he can just throw them, and his throws are so high damage that it makes it really, really dangerous for someone who's 2G'ing for post-GI. So that's really, really important to remember. He's a great character at a high level because of this. And as well as his GI, post-GI follow-ups in general. So that's really important. I mentioned that back B is really important. Now this move is interesting. As you can see, if I pause it, you can see his right foot leaves the ground. It gets off the ground as you do this move, back plus B. Now that move, that animation is important because it will beat down A's if they're close enough. At the right range, because he lifts his foot off the ground like that, a down A will whiff underneath his foot and he'll step on you. So this move is really good against quick characters like Yoshi or Mitsurugi. It's really good for that because he's going to go over the down A and it's going to like fluster your opponent. They're going to be like, what the fuck? Why did that work? So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, and Beal also mentioned it breaks through down A's as well. So this is why it's good. Because it's a B, even though it looks like a kick, it will break through A's. That's the rule in the game, so that's how it works. And you can charge it. If you charge it, it knocks down on regular hit, and you get a free one afterwards. So boom, boom, that's guaranteed. Now, if you get a counter hit, I'll just soul charge. If you get a counter hit on one, you get a knockdown. Though 2 are not guaranteed in this situation, you get a knockdown. And this is really good because it's a fast, relatively fast move. It has decent tracking. It hits side roll on the ground for Okazemi. And generally, it's just a fantastic fast move considering Astaroth's tools. He doesn't have very many moves like this, where it has a broad coverage as well as speed. That's what you really need with him. So that's what makes this good. So your big tools in close, when you're in the scramble, are going to be B plus guard back, B plus guard forward. Those are your throws. Bull Rush, which is extremely important for ringing out and positioning, and for High Crush. 6-6-B, just to fuck them up. If you need something fast with long range, that's a B. This is a really important mid. Up close, it's mid, and it knocks down. Also rings out. Important to remember that. Poseidon's Tide, but more specifically when you're up close, you have to do the lateral versions or the backwards version to make things whiff and, you know, do different options. Let's see. What else is important? Poseidon's Tide, 6-6-B, 6-6K. Back B, really important. In close to make a down A's whiff. Really, really good move. You can charge it on block if you charge it. I forgot to mention this. On block if you charge it, a second one is uninterruptible. So you put them in a frame trap. Basically, back B full charge into a second back B non-full charge is a frame trap. And it's really, really good. So you can imagine this would be useful in close, especially against characters that are quick. Excuse me. Alright, so let's go through his move list real quick. I'll cover everything. Oh yeah, let's talk about his jumping moves while we're at it. Okay, so his jumping A, is that up forward A? Oh, that is up forward A. Okay, so you have to hold guard to do his jumping A. It's a unique jumping A. It does ring out to his left pretty well. So you got to remember that for ringing out. But it is high, and because of that, you know, jumping moves are not usually used for that purpose. So I wouldn't recommend using it that often. However, jumping B is really fucked up and cheap. So his guard up forward B gives them that bounce, as you can see there. Now that bounce doesn't look like much, but it's fucked up because even though he hits the ground before the bounce, that bounce will ring out from pretty far away. And that shit is really cheap. Just like that. They'll just bounce right out of the ring. It's like really fucked up. When it does happen, it's like, oh shit, you know, what are you going to do about it? But he'll bounce right the fuck out of there. So you have a mid-hitting, ground-hitting jumping move that rings out from pretty far away. And that's his while landing B. But yeah, if you do jump plus B, that move is really good for ringing out forward. Because it jumps, it's a B, hits on the ground, and it's mid. So for all those reasons, his jumping B is really good. His jumping K sucks ass. It's useless compared to jumping B. Though it's a little bit faster, it doesn't do anything. It has a narrow linear hitbox, and it's not really that good in general. So I wouldn't really recommend using that one either. Generally speaking, I would say jumping B is the better one. Let's see. His command list is kind of interesting. He's got a lot of tools that you have to use a little bit, but they're not that good. Like his AA, second hit does not jail, but you can charge the second hit to an unblockable command throw. I'm sorry, attack throw. It's really shitty, but not really important. But you do have to use it, especially AB. AB is important just to keep them at bay if they're step guarding too much. If the second hit is delayable, and if it counter hits, it will stun. Like that. If it does stun, you get the same combo as his counter hit 6B, which is down down K, full charge into that. That is a full combo. So counter hit 6B into, it has to clean counter hit. But if it does clean counter hit, down down B, full charge into 2-2B, that is a combo. Really good damage. And the same works for A delayed B on counter hit. That's really important. Oh yeah, Beal, you just reminded me. While landing attacks, I'll go over those before I get into the move list. So his while landing A is decent, not that great, but you know, it's decent. While landing B is good because it gives you a knockdown, hits on the ground. I think it guarantees a free down K, just like that. You might be able to get a pickup. No, it doesn't work. So yeah, while landing B is decent. I like jumping B more myself. And while landing K is the important low. That's the key low because it knocks down. So while landing A, it's a decent low, but the problem is no knockdown. While landing K, on the other hand, gives you a good knockdown, which is what you need. And it rings out too. Almost in that case, but it does ring out. So yeah, those while landing attacks are also important. Let's see. A forward AB. Oh yeah, that's this. It's shitty. You're not going to want to use that. 66A. This is really one of those characters like Nightmare. If you're really trying to play this character and you want to succeed, you have to cut the fat. Nightmare and Astaroth both have a very large move list, but you don't really want to use all their moves because the good moves they have are exceptionally good, and the shitty moves they have are basically a waste of time if you were to focus on the good moves. So, you know, all these moves that you see here, like 6AB or maybe like, you know, these types of moves are not really that good. You should focus more on GI defense and landing command throws. That's what you want to do, and Poseidon's Tide as well. Really, really good move. So let's move on the move list. Down forward A, this is a decent keep out tool. You're going to want to familiarize yourself with these longer ranged moves because, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make them pay. These are like your tiger shots. Every time Zangief is getting in, you have to hit him with those tiger shots to make him pay to get in. These are like your tiger shots. You have to make him duck with that. You have that one's mid, A+B, that's a good one. Back A is a good one. These things are used not necessarily to keep them out, but more like to make them pay to get in. That's the way you use those. Let's see. Down A, not that great of a low, but gotta use it sometimes. 1A, a lot of people like to use this. It is usable from far away, but it's easily jumpable. And if they do the second hit, you could jump that too. There's a double if you charge it. And then there's also down back AB. That's also really shitty because they can block the low and sidestep the mid. So it's not that good. I wouldn't use this much at all. The only time I would use it is if they're on the ground and you're waking them up, like they're side rolling, because it does hit side roll and there's no risk of them jumping over it to hit you. That's really important. So let's see. Back A, I talked about that. You can charge it. If you charge back A, it turns into that command grab. Pretty decent, nothing too special. Let's see, back A. Another one of those tiger shot type of moves. Good tracking mid. Not the best range in the world, but you got to use these types of moves to keep the opponent, you know, at bay from range. Poseidon's Tide, I already talked about that. I should mention that Poseidon's Tide, the third hit of it on block is GI-able. So if you block the first hit, the third hit you can GI out of. Now the thing the opponent can do to make that frustrating is he can make Poseidon's Tide's third hit whiff. So as you can see there, what I'm doing is I'm making the first two hits get blocked, third hit whiffs, and then the rest hits. So let's say I'm an Astaroth player and I notice my opponent, who's Maxi, is GIing the third hit of Poseidon's Tide. If you do that, they're going to whiff the GI during the third hit, so they won't GI the third hit, and then the following remaining hits are all going to hit him. So this is the mind game of Poseidon's Tide. It's really good. A+B, I already talked about that. That's a good move. You can also do it in the other direction, and it does ring out, so this is an important move for that. I think it has to hit at the tip to ring out. Yeah, that's an interesting move. So if they're close, it doesn't knock down. But if the axe part hits, it knocks down. And you can also do it upward. Up A+B does it in the other direction. So this is another one of those tiger shot style moves. Forward A+B is shitty. Don't use it. Down forward A+B. This move is interesting. It's good for post GI. If you hit with the full charge version, it turns into a command throw, which guarantees a Poseidon's Tide. So that is a combo if you hit the full charge version. You can also ring out with this, like that. And you can do a lot of other things too, like these jumping crouch grabs are guaranteed, though they can break them. They are a guaranteed attempt, and those are done by down forward B plus guard and down forward A plus guard. So after the full charge version of this, they have to break that. They're left in crouch. So that's really good. Also, if you do this and they're near the ring, bull rush is guaranteed too. So you hit this, and then boom, you bury him. I fucked up. But bull rush is guaranteed, and that will ring out as well. So that's decent for post GI if they're not doing 2G. Now this move also will ring out behind you if it counter hits. So at times, if your back is to the ring and you hit with a counter hit, down forward A plus B, you'll ring them out behind you. That's important to remember too. It does high crush, but it's not reliable as a high crush. And, you know, it's decent. I wouldn't use it that much, but it's good to remember its properties, just in case the rare occasion you need them. You get some water. Okay. Down forward A plus B, I talked about that. Back A plus B. This move's okay. If you charge it all the way, it's an unblockable attack throw. Gives you good Okazemi for back B wake-ups. If you do it quickly, it knocks down, but it's unsafe on block. It has limited tracking. Generally, I wouldn't use it that much. It's decent. It's just something to remember you have. A plus K, this is kind of important. On counter hit, it'll double overstun, and it has some tracking. This is exceptionally good if they're trying to backdash from in close and you need something really quick. It'll double overstun, and then you can go for command grabs. So even if they break the double overstun, they're going to have to deal with the command grabs and duck. And they can't jump either, because in this scenario, the command grab will beat a jump because it grabs you out of the air. So that's really good. Let's see, 3-3-A, that's, oh, 6-6-A-B. This is an interesting move because it sucks, but the damage is so high that it's worth trying at times. Now, keep in mind, if the opponent is backdashing, they'll receive a counter hit. So in the case of, if you read a backdash, forward A-B, which is counter hit confirmable if you're sharp, does a shitload of damage on counter hit. Look at the damage there. 129, that is crazy. Let's go, turn the attack information to simple so you can see how much damage that is. Boom, 50% if you hit with a counter hit 6-6-A-B. Hit confirmable. Super cheap. So you have to be very careful how you use the move though, because on block, if you do the second hit, the opponent can easily sidewalk it and really fuck you up badly. So you have to be careful how you use it, but it's really good. It's really good if you use it correctly. Let's see. Down AA, his lariat is important because he lacks tracking and it is mid. So this is a really useful tool for that. So it's pretty fast considering the character and his move list. Double hitting mid, really good for tracking step. Good range as well. So not a bad move. You got to remember that one. 8-way run 1A. What is this? Yeah, same thing. I talked about that. Back A, I already talked about that. It's one of your tiger shots. 8-way run any direction, A plus B. Ah, this move sucks. Don't even use it. I don't even want to talk about it. Looking through all his moves. While standing A, you know, it's not that good, except it'll ring out to his right. It's really slow. I think, however, I might be wrong about this, but it might have a high crush throughout the animation. But, you know, I'm not sure about that. In fact, I think it's important to test. Let's see. Nope. There you go. It does not. So while standing A kind of sucks butt cheeks with this guy. Moving on. His B is actually decent. It's okay. You can charge it. If you charge it, it has slightly more tracking because of the way he lays the axe flat. If you just do a standing B, the axe is more linear. But if you charge it, it comes down flat. So it's pretty good for that. I forgot what it does on counter hit. Nothing, I guess. Just frame advantage. But it's okay. Not terrible. Oh, also you can charge it, and I think... No, that's it. Okay, B has a delayed A. So if they sidestep, you can go B, A, or you could go B, up A. And that will go... It will natural combo, and it'll also track the direction that they sidestep. So you could do standing B, see what direction they sidestepped, if they did, and then do A, and then the corresponding direction to track them. So that's important with Astaroth at times. I mean, it's not abusable, but you got to use this stuff. B forward B, what's that? Nah, that's shitty. I don't think that's good. What else did I mention? Oh, I talked about AB. That's important. This move, you know, I don't like using it. I feel like he has better options that cover this. Like back B. I think back B does the job of B6K much better. But, I mean, it is a counter hit launcher. It is relatively safe. It's not completely safe. But I think it's kind of important to mention, I guess. Hits with the hilt of the axe, and that's actually a B, so it'll crush through A's as well. And it's pretty fast. Moving on. 6B is important because if you counter hit with it, it gives you a ton of damage. That's a combo. Ton of damage. Counter hit 6B is really, really good. You did it too slow. There you go. Okay, let's see what else. 6-6B I mentioned, really important move. Key move. In this game, it's mid up close, unlike future Soul Caliburs where it's high. So that's what makes it so abusable. And it has great pushback on block. So really, really good. Down forward B, I think is kind of shitty, though I think it's one of his best guard cancels to just cause hesitation. The move itself is really slow. If you charge it, it will become an unblockable. So that's decent. But again, it's so linear and so slow, and the animation is so obvious that you will get stepped. However, as I mentioned, guard canceling it is good because it's just an awkward cancel, you know, with all the fire and shit. Let's see. Down B, decent for Okazemi, not that important. Down B, you can hold it. It's a guard crush if you hold it. Again, Okazemi, but not that important. Back B I talked about. Back B if you hold it. Full charge on block. Another back B is uninterruptible frame trap. Really good. Back B is shitty, but you can guard cancel it again. It's decent. This move will also lift his leg over down A's at times. But it's so slow that it's not really that good. And look how shitty the hitbox is. It'll whiff on its own sometimes. That's a problem with Astaroth's most linear moves. They'll just whiff sometimes, which is why you don't want to use those moves. You want to use the moves that I'm telling you are really cheap. That's basically one of the reasons why you want to stick to his good moves. His good moves are really good. His bad moves are not really whatever. They're just whatever. They're shitty. Alright. Back B up is basically like this move. You can follow up with a K. It's shitty. You can experiment with it if you want, but it's not that good. Up forward B is a unique move that jumps pretty far. I like this move for beating Ivy because Ivy, she has a lot of keep out tools that go straight. They extend straight, and he can jump over those and get in on her with that. So that's pretty good. You can also charge it, and if you charge it, it's a guard crush. So not bad. I mean, it's not the best move in the world, but, you know, it's decent for certain situations. Let's see. B plus K is another attack throw. Not that good. It's a high. It doesn't do much damage. If you hit their back with it, which is very rare, but if you do, I think you get a free crouch throw. Yeah, you get a free crouch throw attempt if that hits their back. But, you know, not that useful. Forward B plus K is the titties move. It GIs A's, I think. I'm going to double check that right now. Oh, it high crushes too. Let's see if it GIs B's. Attacks. Man, I can't believe they don't give you the option of defending against a freaking down A. Yeah, it GIs A's. I'm pretty sure it GIs A's. So you're going to want to use it against talkies and all that shit. You know, it GIs A's and it'll beat the poking. It also high crushes and it also jumps at the end of the animation as well. So all good reasons to use 6B plus K. It's not safe on block, so you have to be careful how you use it. But it's pretty good. It'll get you in too pretty quickly. And you, as I mentioned, you can charge it. During the charge, he is high crushing too, so pretty good. But it's a high. You got to remember that. You got to remember that it's a high. Let's see. Down forward B plus K is this move. You know, I don't use it that much, but there are uses for it, especially from long range. If they've whiffed something, you can ring out with it. Also, I think on counter hit it shifts to an attack throw. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it did. I could have sworn that turns into an attack throw. It might be another move though. Yeah, it might be another move. But it's a decent low, long range, hits on the ground. Decent. Ah, this must be it. Let's see. Well, as you can see, I don't know about it because it's not commonly used. But I think it's interesting, so you guys should check it out. That's what it looks like. I'm not sure how it even works. Do you have to hit it at the right time? Yeah, there we go. So that's the command throw. It's decent. I think you get a free hit afterwards too. No, you don't get a free hit, but it's pretty good damage. It's decent, I guess. I wouldn't abuse it, but there are times, especially for post GI, where it's useful. All right, let's see where we're at. This move is really shitty and slow. I never use it. I think it's guard cancelable though. 6-6B, talked about that. 3-3B, it's the same as 3B, not that good. 2-2B generally is only good for the post command grab combo, but it's also decent. It hits on the ground, it's good for that. It's mid, you know, it's a B move, good range. It's okay to use on occasion, but it's so linear that you can potentially become, you know, get sidestepped and launch. So it can be dangerous. Let's see. Now that move sucks. Back B, I talked about that. Forward B plus K, I talked about that. What's this? I talked about that too. These are basically the 8-way run versions of moves that I've already talked about. While standing B is okay because, you know, it's pretty fast mid out of full crouch. It gives you frame advantage and I think a ring out if you're up close. Yeah, like that. If it hits shallow, so it'll give you a different hit stun animation. So this is what it looks like up close. If it hits shallow, it looks like that. Gives more of like a nosebleed type of a stun. And, you know, it's decent. You have to use it because of his lack of moves from full crouch. On occasion, you have to use it. Let's see. Oh, back-facing enemy B plus K. That's a good move. I don't know how to become back-turned with Astaroth. I don't think you can. I forgot what moves he has. I don't think he has anything that'll turn him back turn. But basically, it's the same move he's had in several Soul Calibur games. Maybe I could jump over. Okay, there it is. That's the move. And on counter hit, let's see if I can. Whatever, you get a stun on counter hit, so that's important when you're in back turn. I should also mention that Astaroth can break back throws in this game. So if you get back thrown, always always push a button with Astaroth. Astaroth and Valdo are the only characters in this game, and I'm pretty sure in any Soul Calibur game that can break back throws. So remember that with those characters. His standing K is kind of interesting only because it turns into that sick-ass command throw. This is what it looks like normally. If you charge it, it kicks you in the face and turns it into that dope command throw with great Okazemi. It's not that good considering the damage on it is just about it's less damage than his command grabs. Especially his B command grab, but it is usable at times and it's safe on block too, so you have to you know, use it when you need it. But, you know, not that good. Mostly looks cooler than it is. 6K is a decent move. It knocks down pretty good. It only knocks down if you're deep. If it's shallow, like here, it will not knock down. It's not completely safe on block, but it does high crush a little bit. And, yeah, it's pretty fast. I prefer back B myself. I think back B is a much better move, and you could spam the shit out of it over and over. Super cheap. 6-6K is Bull Rush. I already mentioned it. It's extremely important for ringing out. It's guard cancelable, though I don't think you should ever do that. 2 Bull Rushes in a row are really hard to beat because you can't even do any highs. if they try to retaliate with a high, it's going to go under it. The second bull rush will go under it. So really, really good for ringing out. You can also do it from 8-way runs. So 8-way run down forward K, 8-way run up forward K will also give a bull rush. So really, really good move. And one of his key moves. You have to use it. It's like his fireball. You got to use it. Ryu's fireball or whatever. Really, really important. Let's see. Down forward K A is super shitty, but down forward K hold A is mid-mid. It's not a natural. It's not anything really great, but, you know, it's pretty good. The second hit, if you don't hold it, will knock down. If you hold it, it doesn't knock down, but it's mid. So the down forward K into the hold version of the A is decent because of the mid-mid property. You can also hold the K as well, like that, but it's really slow, so you should be careful how you use it. Anyway, down K, I don't really like this move much, but you have to use it at times. I think his 1B is a little better as a low. It's a little slower, but it does knock down, and it's pretty hard to see as well. And it has good range as well, too. So his 1B is definitely a more usable low than his down K. His down K is kind of shitty, actually. 1KA, someone was asking me about that yesterday. Totally shitty move. If you ever use this move, you're either having it's an accident, or you know, I don't know, it's just not that good. When you have other moves that are so much better, like down back B, you don't want to use 1K, and the A follow-up is a high, so not that good either. Back KK is not that good, but it does have a soul charge cancel after the first hit, I think, like that. Yeah. I don't know. It's okay. It's decent. Worth knowing. It's mid-mid. I think it's a counter hit combo, though I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not even a counter hit combo. Maybe if the second hit hits. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it's a good move overall. You never saw good players use it. I think it's unsafe on block as well. But okay, not bad because of the soul charge cancel. You can cancel it, and then, you know, do what you got to do. Back K is a move that looks similar to back K, but it's not the same. This is more like a step on him, kind of a mid, knocks down on hit. I never use it. I think it sucks. Really not that good. 3-3K, that's bull rush. I already talked about that. Down K. This move is okay, not bad, especially if they're re-GIing for post GI. Pretty good. You can get this follow up. Hold on. That follow up is guaranteed. But yeah, it's not that good. It's better for combos, basically. Like I showed you earlier, counter hit 6B into full charge 2-2K into that. That's all a combo. So, you know, 2-2K, it's okay. It's not that good. Oh, it earthquakes too. I guess I should mention that. It earthquakes if they are not blocking low or jumping, so you could follow up with stuff. But again, not that great. Back K, talked about that. While standing K is, you know, it's not good. It's unsafe, and it has this low, slow-ass follow-up that they can counter hit or jump or do whatever they want with. But while standing K will counter hit on, it will stun on counter hit. So if you think it's going to squeak by and get a counter hit, you can get that combo, which is good. You can also do the follow-up, which will become a natural counter hit combo. Decent, not that great, but, you know, it's worth mentioning from while standing. Let's see what else we got. His best while standing move, other than throws, is going to be bull rush. You can bull rush from full crouch. It does maintain the high crush throughout the whole animation. So you will go under highs because you started as a crouch and then you did a bull rush from crouch. It's going to go under highs the whole time. You know, it's pretty good overall. It's probably your main primary tool that's a mid from crouch. I would recommend using this over any of his other mids. It has good tracking from crouch and knocks down just like the standing version. However, the full crouch version cannot be charged and it cannot be guard cancelled. So you got to remember that. Moving on. These are his command grabs, but I can't stress enough that you have to always do the... you don't want to do his regular grabs. You always want to do B plus guard forward or B plus guard back. Because B plus guard back, which is what you just saw, is a B escape. And B plus guard forward is an A escape. Even though you do the command with B plus guard, it's a A and B mix-up, which is really good. And it will grab them out of the sky, which is really good. On top of all that, you will be able to ring out if you're near the ring and you time it correctly. This will ring out. On top of that, this, I believe, rings out too, if I remember correctly. Maybe not in this game, but let's double check. No, the A version doesn't ring out in this game. But, you know, you get great Okizeme afterwards. So, let's talk a little bit about his throw Okizeme. I think his best Okizeme tool is back B. Back B is really, really important for Okizeme because it hits side roll, hits grounded, and it's mid. And if you charge it, you get another one uninterruptible. If the charge version hits, the second one is guaranteed. So let's do a hypothetical. If I hit with the A command grab and I wake them up with a back B, they're going to have to get up and block that. There's nothing they could do but get up and block or GI it. If that counter hits, then you get another knockdown for more wake-ups. If they get up and they're just blocking because they know you're going to do that, you can charge it and then put them in another 50-50 situation with the throw versus back B. Back B complements his throws really well up close because the full charge version leaves them in a fucked up position where you can mix them up with like 6-6B, Bull Rush, or whatever you want. Really good for that. He does have these jumping crouch throws, which I think suck, and he has regular crouch throws, which are decent. But I think if they're gonna duck, you should hit them with a Bull Rush or a 6-6B or something else, back B. You don't want to do crouch grabs because if they jumped, you're missing that opportunity. So I don't think, you know, I don't think it's that good. Yeah, they can roll out of back B if you charge it. I see Baines is in the chat. You can roll out of back B if they charge it. However, that's the point. You got to train them. First, you do back B to get them to not roll. Then, when they're not rolling and standing up and blocking, that's when you do the charge version, and then you get the frames from the charge version. It's all a matter of, you know, conditioning your opponent. It's real. This character is all about conditioning and reading because his GI game is so good, and I'll talk about it in a second. But his GI game is exceptionally good, and you know his throws are so cheap. Let's see, where else are we at? Oh yeah, I also mentioned that you can charge his command grabs too. This is good for post GI if they're GIing your throws. This is good to delay the throws. Let's see. Airborne enemy B plus guard. I already showed you guys that. And I think that covers everything. So now I can talk about post GI. So I don't usually talk about post GI because you can figure it out what's, you know, super good with your character. Generally, it's a matter of will they or won't they GI. And if they do, you can either do a fake to bait out the GI, or you can do a move that's elaborate looking and slow to bait out the GI and then punish them with the slow move. Now, in the case of Astaroth, the reason this character is so good at a high level late in the game is because he beats 2G exceptionally well. Now, the computer will never do a 2G, of course, because it's retarded. But if I have him do GI, let's say into, what is this, GI attack, he's going to GI me. So what I want to do is have him, oh, that might work. So, wow, that's interesting. In the PS2 version, this is totally unrelated, but in the PS2 version of this game, that is a different font. That Impact 1, that's a different font. I wonder why they did that. I wonder if that's either the Xbox font or, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what did they put time into doing that? Anyway, whatever. The point is that if the opponent 2Gs after you GI them, they will be thrown every time. So, and the throws are such high damage, it's really something that the opponent, it's enough for the opponent to be scared of. He also has this low, which will knock down, and it fits within the guard impact window in which they cannot block. So let's say you have an opponent that's doing 2G. You have these options as throws, and you have this that will knock down. So he's going to beat the shit out of 2G easily, right? On top of that, if you are not doing 2G, he has all these slow-ass moves, post-GI, that you can use that do good damage. Like this one I just talked about. That's slow. You can do Poseidon's Tide, good damage and slow. You can do maybe this. You know, you could do a lot of options. Astaroth, it's funny because when the game was first released, Astaroth was really good because his post-GI was really good. And he has all these cheap-ass moves, right? Then, as the game evolved, they discovered 2G. So Astaroth kind of got weaker, right? But then, when you think about it, Astaroth's throw game and his low game is so good that he actually is one of the better characters at beating 2G in the long run. So this is what kept him so high in the tier list. He's really cheap because he can beat every level of GI, every level of your opponent's mental game post-GI, Astaroth can handle in a really exceptionally good way. This is why I mentioned that GI is so important for this character. It's not only important because he's so slow and large that he can't really avoid these pokes, but on top of that, he's good because if he lands the GI, which is what you're going to be using to defend with, if you land it with the GI, you're going to go ahead and employ these great post-GI tactics. So GI is good. If you're a player that's good at GI, you're going to want to use this character. And his post-GI, Astaroth as a character is really good at complementing GI. So really, really important. And I noticed someone in the chat is asking what is 2G. I'll explain it right now. Basically, I'll try and do it as quickly as possible. So the way the game works is forward plus guard will guard impact mid and high attacks. Back plus guard will GI mid and low attacks. In this game, this isn't the case in every Soul Calibur, but in this game, you can GI throws. So let me set him to GI real quick. I think it's important enough for me to explain this with Astaroth because it's such a huge part of his game. So in this game, the opponent can GI throws. What am I doing here? Guard impact attack. Why is he not GIing these throws? I don't understand. Hey Internet, are Astaroth's command grabs unparryable in this game? I think they are. Astaroth's command grabs are unparryable? That can't be right, right? The computer must be fucking up. I'm pretty sure the computer's fucking up and not GIing it. Because you can GI throws in this game, and I'm pretty sure you can GI Astaroth throws. I did it yesterday. So, yeah. Okay. I got Baines in the chat room confirming. The computer is an idiot. But basically, the way this works is, let me start from scratch because I lost my train of thought. You can GI throws in this game. So, the way it works is, if Astaroth lands a GI, he can do the standard, standard throw mix-up game. However, after a while, after the game was out for a little while, it was discovered that once you are GI'd, like as if the opponent GIs you, if you time down plus guard at the same moment that the attack that they're hitting you with connects, you can actually block it when you're not supposed to be able to. Now, the side effect of doing a 2G is that your opponent, your character, is just standing there blocking. So you won't be able to deal with a throw or a low that's fast enough to be unblockable. Basically, 2G doesn't beat throws and it doesn't beat fast lows. Now, Astaroth happens to have command grabs, which will grab you if you're 2Ging, and they do so much damage that it's really dangerous to just 2G all the time against Astaroth. So for this reason, after 2G was discovered, he's exceptionally good still. As I mentioned, he has this knockdown low. This idiot's still GIing me. He has this knockdown low, which falls within the unblockable window of post-GI, and he has these grabs. So in order for the opponent to beat the grabs in the low, they have to start GIing again. And this is where it goes full circle. For Astaroth and Mitsurugi and a couple other characters, the GI mind game is still there. And it is possible to force your opponent to re-GI because they're going to get tired of getting grabbed all day. You know what I mean? So I think Astaroth, really, really exceptionally solid character, especially if you have good patience and you have good GI timing. That's really sells this character, as well as ring out. If you're a ring out terrain control kind of a character, really, really good for that purpose. So I'm pretty sure I covered just about everything with the character that is essential for winning. There might be some intricacies that I forgot. Like, for example, yesterday I was talking about Mitsurugi, and BL reminded me that Mitsurugi's counter hit 6A gives you a free AA. So if I had done a tutorial for Mitsurugi, I would have forgot that, even though it's really fucked up and cheap. So you can imagine that perhaps I've forgotten something with Astaroth, but I do know that his general requirements for being able to win I covered in this tutorial. His 2-2K into PT combo? Oh shit. That shit's cheap. That's a lot of damage. Thanks, Banes. So Banes just reminded me that 2-2K combos into Poseidon's Tide, doing a shitload of damage. Look at that. This is so cheap. Look at the damage. It's ridiculous. So versus Re-GI, he's saying versus Re-GI, that's really a great option. And this is what I was talking about. As a GI character, so good. Look at the damage. I mean, and then counter hit 6B, 2-2K, I mentioned that. That's a good combo. Really, really cheap. Ton of damage. I mean, the round's over at that point. You know, so cheap. Anyway, internet, hopefully you guys learned something about Astaroth. I don't know how many of you are playing this game. It seems like there are some people who really like the